Look inside the car parked outside the coffee shop. The passenger seat is buried under fast food bags from 3 different restaurants. Empty coffee cups occupy every cup holder, some growing mold. The back seat is a graveyard of forgotten gym bags, unread mail, clothes that were supposed to go to the dry cleaner 6 months ago. A half-eaten granola bar sits melted into the center console. This is not a car. This is a rolling disaster zone. And the woman who owns it, a 29-year-old marketing professional named Jessica, knows exactly how bad it looks. She cannot seem to do anything about it at all. Every single day she tells herself today is the day she cleans it. Every single day she drives home past the car wash, promising herself tomorrow. It has been tomorrow for 8 months now. This is not laziness. This is something far more complex happening beneath the surface. When psychologists look at a chronically messy car, they see potential markers of executive dysfunction. Executive function is the brain's ability to plan, organize, initiate tasks, and follow through to completion. It sounds simple, but for many people, these cognitive processes are genuinely impaired. Someone with ADHD or depression might look at that car full of trash and feel completely paralyzed. They know it needs cleaning. They want it clean, but the gap between knowing and doing feels impossibly wide. The task seems overwhelming. Where do you even start when chaos has accumulated for months? This paralysis is not a character flaw. It is a neurological reality. Jessica's car did not become a mess overnight. It happened gradually, one forgotten water bottle at a time. She would finish her morning coffee and think, I will throw this away later. She would grab fast food on a difficult day and tell herself she would clean up tomorrow. Each small item felt manageable to deal with later, but later never came. And now the accumulation is so extensive that cleaning feels like climbing a mountain. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. When a problem grows beyond a certain point, people stop believing they can solve it. The mess becomes a fixed reality rather than a solvable problem. There is also a strong correlation between car cleanliness and mental health status. Multiple therapists report that when clients are going through depressive episodes, their cars often reflect this internal state. Depression depletes motivation and energy in ways that are difficult for people who have never experienced it to understand. Tasks that seem trivial to others, throwing away a coffee cup, gathering trash into a bag, stopping at a car wash, become genuinely difficult. The messy car is not the problem. It is a symptom. It is the physical manifestation of internal struggle, the external evidence of battles fought and lost in the privacy of one's own mind. When Jessica finally went to therapy for persistent sadness and lack of motivation, her therapist asked about her living spaces, her bedroom, her kitchen, her car. When Jessica mentioned her car with embarrassment, the therapist nodded knowingly. Your car is a mirror of your mind right now. The concept of private space plays a crucial role here. A car is one of the few spaces that exists between public and private. Your home is private. Your office is public. Your car is this strange hybrid. You occupy it alone most of the time, creating a sense of privacy. But other people can see inside through the windows, creating social exposure. For people with messy cars, this creates significant anxiety. Jessica never gives anyone rides. When colleagues suggest carpooling or friends ask for a lift, she makes excuses. The shame is real and deep. She knows what they would think if they saw inside. But the shame itself becomes another barrier to cleaning. The worse it gets, the more ashamed she feels. The more ashamed she feels, the harder it becomes to address. Decision fatigue is another powerful factor. Modern life requires thousands of micro-decisions daily. What to wear, what to eat, which emails to answer first, which tasks to prioritize. By the time someone gets to their car at the end of the day, their decision-making capacity is depleted. The trash sitting there requires decisions. Should I take all of it now or just some? Do I need a bag? Should I stop at a trash can or wait until I get home? These seem like trivial decisions, but to an exhausted brain, they feel like too much. So nothing happens. The trash stays. Tomorrow becomes the perpetual answer. Time scarcity perception intensifies the problem. Jessica genuinely believes she has no time between work deadlines, social obligations, trying to maintain relationships, exercise, cook healthy meals. The idea of spending an hour cleaning her car feels impossible. But here is the psychological twist. She spends far more than an hour feeling anxious about the mess, making excuses, taking longer routes to avoid being seen, refusing rides. The mental energy consumed by avoiding the problem exceeds the energy needed to solve it. But anxiety does not calculate rationally. There is a man named Thomas in Chicago who kept his car messy for 3 years. He is a software engineer, highly organized at work, respected by colleagues, promoted twice, but his car told a completely different story. Food wrappers, empty energy drink cans, cables and chargers tangled everywhere, papers and receipts creating layers across every surface. He finally cleaned it when his car broke down and needed towing. The tow truck driver looked inside and said, "I cannot tow this until you remove personal items." Thomas had to stand there, in front of a stranger, pulling months of accumulated trash into garbage bags while the driver watched. The humiliation was crushing, but it also broke the paralysis. Once he started, he realized the task was not as impossible as his anxiety made it seem. The social judgment around messy cars is particularly harsh. People make sweeping character assessments based on car cleanliness. Someone with a pristine car is seen as organized, successful, together. Someone with a messy car is lazy, irresponsible, failing at basic adulting. But this judgment rarely accounts for mental health, neurodevelopmental conditions, life circumstances, or the complex psychology underneath visible behaviors. The judgment itself can worsen the problem by adding shame to an already difficult situation. Interestingly, some people keep messy cars as a form of rebellion against perfectionism everywhere else. Their homes are immaculate, their appearance is polished, their work is flawless. The car becomes the one space where they allow chaos, where they do not have to perform. This is less common, but psychologically significant when it occurs. For these individuals, the mess is not dysfunction, it is a pressure release valve. For Jessica, the turning point came during therapy. Her therapist suggested starting impossibly small. Not clean the whole car, just remove one item today. Tomorrow, remove one more. Jessica laughed. That would take forever. Her therapist smiled. How long has it been messy already? 8 months of paralysis or 8 months of one item per day? Which one actually takes longer? That reframe changed something. Jessica started removing one piece of trash each time she got out of the car. Just one. Some days she removed more because momentum built, but the rule was never more than one was required. Within 6 weeks her car was clean, not because she conquered the mess in one heroic effort, but because she made the task small enough that executive dysfunction could not stop her. The psychology of messy cars reveals fundamental truths about human behavior and our relationship with visible disorder. We are not always rational actors who simply choose our circumstances. We are complex beings whose environments reflect internal states, neurological realities, and psychological struggles that others cannot see from the outside. We build mountains from molehills through accumulated avoidance and then feel paralyzed by the mountains we created. We judge ourselves and others harshly for visible symptoms while ignoring invisible causes. The next time you see a car filled with trash, consider what might be happening beneath that surface. Perhaps someone is fighting depression and losing small battles daily. Perhaps someone has ADHD and cannot bridge the gap between intention and action. Perhaps someone is so overwhelmed by life that a messy car is the least of their actual problems. Perhaps they are deeply ashamed and do not need your judgment added to their burden. That car is not the whole story. It is one chapter in a larger, more complicated book. And sometimes, the kindest thing we can offer is not judgment, but the understanding that we never fully know what battles other people are fighting in spaces we cannot see.